We're going to go on an awareness journey so that we can have real experience with what is awareness and where is it my ego and how's the ego playing in it and how do I recognize where I am in this consciousness space that I'm in. To get started, let's take in a couple of deep breaths. And it just slows our minds down, stepping away from the issues that come up for the day or from the day. Breathing in and taking that time to just signal the body that we're ready for a shift, something different. So we let that air come into our lungs. And even that is kind of funny to say, we let it, of course. And the universe is saying, of course, to you all the time. Of course. Of course I love you. Of course I want the best for you. Of course I want you to be happy. Of course. So we breathe in, merging with the air that's coming in our lungs, going down into our chest. And we begin to notice things about our body. And we do this to start separating from the mind, the thoughts. So to do that, we have to work with our focus. So we're simply shifting the focus from yap, yap, yap about the day up here in our heads and taking a moment to merge with the breath that is aligning in our bodies, going straight to the center. And there, as we take our mind with the breath down into our body, into our chest, we start to notice our heartbeat, the feel of the blood pumping through our veins. We notice the energy that's in our hands, how our feet feel on the floor, how we sit. We shift a little bit for comfort. We notice any tension in our bodies. And we just breathe in and out of that place that has a little tension, just like imagine the breath coming into it and then going out of it. We just let things get a bit quieter. We again take our focus to noticing any aspect in our body that we choose. And I'm going to pick how the blood feels pumping through my veins, just to notice it. And it immediately rushes me into the entirety of my body. Noticing fingers and toes and skin, everything. And then I take my focus to follow the next inhale to the place that I feel the most centered me. And follow that for yourself, wherever that is in your body. Your most centered self. And here we start to consider awareness. Now our mind has been aware, our ego has been aware of the day. And we're just going to jump between things so that you begin to be able to comfortably jump between them yourself. And even in saying that we're going to consider how our day went, our focus immediately starts to gravitate upwards back to thought. So we're just going to keep a pattern going here. Following the breath into the lungs, to the most centered part that is you, and being in that space. And from this centered space, engaging our awareness of how the ego functions. Now, the ego can hand you different thoughts about the day. And breathe in, hold your center. It'll have things to say about how your day went, what you should have done and what you shouldn't have done. And that is ego. But that is also ego awareness, because it remembers the day, remembers what you said. Sometimes it can even fix what you said so you don't have to remember it exactly as you said it, because it needs to come out on top. And that's okay. It's how it functions. You don't have to be mad at it, don't have to be upset about it, but we don't have to believe it. So again, we breathe. And we notice the things the ego hands us to consider. And it's like a history dialogue and a future dialogue. Doesn't really talk that much about right now. Talks about what did happen, what might happen, or what it thinks will happen. But it's rarely focused on right now. But here you are, aware of the breath coming in your nose. You feel its aligning properties as you follow it into your chest, to the most centered part of you. And you're aware of the ego and the mind describing the day. Now, who is that? The one that's aware of all three of those things. So we again, in this space, from our centered self, let's practice a sound, just to give us some skills here. And we're going to practice the sound of Om. And when you do Om, from this space, I want you to follow your breath down into your body, into that chest. And you're going to make the sound of Om. And your focus is going to be everything you can notice about how it vibrates within you. Let's do it again. And this time, when we breathe in, I'm going to engage with my mind at the same time. I'm Oming. Now that's the ego. It wants to own it. And it wants to know it's doing it. And it stopped it just like that. Let's try it again, but this time, focusing again on the sound of Om and how it resonates in your body. Notice everything about it. And this time I'm staying focused on that space in my chest. But I can hear the mind wondering, is anybody else doing it with me? Am I doing it by myself? That's what the mind is thinking. It's aware that the Om has happened. It's aware of our conversation. But it's trying to make meaning out of what I'm doing. And a train just came by and tooted, and the mind, the first thing was, it's oming with us. And that's the mind. See, when you wash dishes, you can feel that plate in your hand. And you can feel the warmth of the water as it comes over the plate as you wash it. How much soap is in the dish rag as you're wiping it down. But the mind will be washing that plate with you. And it'll say something like, this is Grandma's plate. Grandma's not here anymore. I'm sad. I can't even wash these dishes now because Grandma's not here anymore. That's the mind. It takes anything you go to do and either creates a story of suffering or of desire, of competition, of whatever. If whether you're changing a tire, say you turn off the road, you got to change a tire. And you get out of that car and you go back there and you're changing the tire. Maybe you're cranking on it and it's a hard lug nut to get broke free, and you do it and you look up and you wonder, did everybody see me do that? Did anybody see how my muscles flexed when I did that? Do I look cool out here doing that? Or maybe you're in fear. You're like, God, I hope the cars don't squish me as I'm out here doing this. That's the ego commenting. You're there doing. The ego does nothing. Can the ego change a tire? Can the ego wash a dish? No. It can be aware that you are doing that. And it'll have an agenda to play. The ego is aware of your awareness. The ego is aware of awareness. But you are the awareness. So let's play again with the Om. And once again, we breathe in and rest our minds, because just engaging in this conversation is enough to pull us out of that space. So let's return with the breath, following it into our chest, greeting the most centered part of ourselves. Leaving thought behind, a little distance from thought. And let's Om again, just for a practice. Om. Giving our total focus to that Om. We're going to do it again, and notice where you're observing the Om from this time. Just notice that. Om. So there's another place. There's thought and it's thinking, which wants to pull you out of that focus. It desires that focus. It wants that focus. Because it can't do anything but comment on what you are doing. And the only way for it to feel alive is to get that focus from you. So again, let's Om, but notice where the focus is. Where are you focusing on that Om from? Om. Because there's something very interesting about this. We're now aware of the ego and thought and its desire for that focus. We're also aware of where we're focusing from. And for me, that location is just slightly behind this cheekbone. And that's interesting because that's where my focus on that Om is. So that wherever your focus is coming, where you're observing that Om from, notice that. And this time, join that focus. Join it very closely and move that focus down closer into the chest. And did it change the sound of your Om as well? Just moving that focus closer to that center. Let's try it again and pull the focus closer to the center where the breath goes and observe the Om. And just by engaging that heavier level of focus, your mind didn't engage in much thinking as it had been. And this time, we're going to take a leap. Actually, we're going to reestablish the focus again, and then we'll take the leap. So again, finding where you're focusing from, move that focus with the breath into your nose, down into your lungs, and let it be in that centered space when you Om. And now this time when we Om, we're going to leap from that area of focus into the Om. We're going to do it again because sometimes when we do that, we can sustain that just for a second or two, being the Om. So we're going to try it again. And this time we're going to breathe and we're going to be the inhale that comes in our nose. We're going to breathe and become the breath as it goes down our throat and into our lungs. We're going to feel our own lungs. And this time when we breathe in and we make the sound of Om, we become the Om, leaving our focus on the Om to being the Om. There are several stages. There's the ego with its awareness of your day, and it knows how to capture your focus so that something you are simply going to do, maybe you are going to make breakfast, It came to you that I want breakfast. So you go to make it. Why do I have to be the one making breakfast? Nobody else is up. I'm always the first to do it. That's the ego already grabbing what you're doing and making it suffering. The second place is when we, as the energy we are, have focus, and we pull that focus back away from a thought. Instead of being the thought, I'm the one who has to get up and fix breakfast every time. That's a thought. Then you move back to the focus, pull it back into your center. And there, it's aware of that thought. And that focus is also aware of the closeness that it is to the being that you are. And there's a love of sitting in that focus because it's still a little safe. It's separate from the thinking, but it's not completely joined with the being. And that's a wonderful, lovely space, that focus space, because it allows you to go between these stages, to catch when the thought has grabbed that focus, and I'm a thought, then I'm mad already because I'm the one getting breakfast ready. And I'm going to make you your coffee, but I'm not going to quite put as much half and half in it as you want because I'm the one who had to get up and make it. See how we continue to believe our thoughts and make it suffering. That's what thinking does. That's when the ego has captured what you were about to do, because the ego can't make a cup of coffee, but it can talk about it. You are the energy that's moving and functioning. Simply making yourself a cup of coffee, energy has interacted with the material world to pick up a cup, to pour in water in the coffee maker, to then pour it into the cup. All these things, your energy exchanging with the material environment, and the ego has absolutely nothing to do with that. Unless the ego is saying, well, I have to start my day with coffee. I choose to believe that one because I like coffee. So I'll let the ego have that one. But I don't have to. But it's all right if I decide, yeah, I agree with the ego. I want some coffee. And then there's that place of focus. And when we live in that place of focus, where we can focus on a thought or focus on our body, that is our tool to bring ourselves into presence. But when we live in just that focus part, we don't merge all the way with the being. And the being is what we want to merge with for certain portions of time. So let's do that again. And this time, breathing into the nose, my focus is aware of the breath coming in. Following it down into my lungs, my focus is aware that the breath is inside my body. And then merging my focus with the being that I am, not sitting in focus anymore, but moving focus to merge with that most centered self space. From there, let's Om. Let's let even go of Om and just be in the space. Be the space.